Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the program. Today I'm continuing the theme, the Archie Luxury World City Ratings. And we're being swamped with requests here. And these are all cities that Archie has personally visited. And we're giving them a rating out of 40. They include important criteria like cleanliness, the amount of pollution, the number of luxury shops, and of course, the ability to pick up women. Very important criteria there. So let's continue without further ado. And today we're displaying the lovely city of Sydney. Sydney, an international city in Australia. And what can I really say there? Sydney's probably one of the most famous cities in the world, with the Sydney Opera House and the Harbour Bridge. And more on the seedy side there, of course, has got King's Cross, and you know, a lot of famous people come from Sydney. There's Paul Hogan. He started off as a painter on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and it's just an amazing city itself there, an amazing city, and it's also home to Sydney Vintage Watches. That's right, Fred Mann Sydney Vintage Watches, and Archie's good old friend Ronnie has he actually owns Sydney Vintage Watches with Luke, and they run a great show. If ever you need a wristwatch and you're looking around to buy from a good second-hand dealer, or you need a service on a piece, go to Sydney Vintage Watches and just tell them Archie sent you. And he's got a beautiful shop in Sydney in the Strand Arcade, and it's just a premier shopping location in George Street, and it's not far from the Queen Victoria building. It's an absolutely cracker of a shop. And when Archie was in Sydney, he stayed in the Rocks area. That's right next to Circular Quay. It's the old traditional parts of Sydney, and it's also now very much a upmarket section. So these beautiful shots here represent the joys of being so close to the so close in the city, and just enjoying all the beautiful wonders of this international city. And Archie stayed here. Archie's been to Sydney many times. He originally went to Sydney from Brisbane in a Fokker friendship in the early 80s, when there was an airline called East West, and they were a Rolls-Royce engined propeller plane, and they've since, of course, you know, you can fly from Brisbane to Sydney in about an hour. It's about 1,000 kilometres away. And Sydney's a great city. It's one of these big international cities. It's got a population of about 4 million, and it's just a huge modern city. And it's a lovely place to be there. Sydney's got some of the most ferocious real estate prices in the world. Very, very expensive city, but there's a lot of quality aspects there. Sydney's got they've got some wonderful dealers, Louis Vuitton, they've got Hermes, they've got Patek dealers, they've got an Audemars dealer, and they've got a Vacheron and Constantine dealer. It's all happening in Sydney. Sydney's where the money is, so to speak. Melbourne has the privilege of having the class. Sydney has the money, and it's a great city indeed there. And just coming up very soon is some pictures taken from Centrepoint. Centrepoint is the highest building tower in Sydney. It's the tallest building tower in Australia, and it's got a little revolving restaurant at the top there, and you can see some pictures coming up of Archie. Archie couldn't help himself with the buffet. Oh, fuck, Archie. That's your 5th helping. My God, Archie. But Archie's also got some beautiful pictures of his Patek. He's at the top of the world with the top line wristwatch. So Archie's really happy here. And it's just a wonderful place to come and visit. Sydney is an international city. It's got a real Australian feel to it. It's a very upmarket Australian feel to it. If you're staying in the Rocks, or you're staying in some of the upmarket areas, there's a bit of a downmarket side. There's Parramatta, Cabramatta, but I'll talk about those in a minute. But this is Sydney. at its greatest. And if you stay in the city, you stay in the Rocks area, you can't go too wrong. It's really nice and upmarket. If you go out into the suburb, the western suburbs there, it's going to be a bit of a disappointment. There's going to be lowlifes, crime, and other unpleasantries, but you will find a few amps, Asian massage parlours. And the one thing about Sydney is Sydney's got a red light district called King's Cross. And personally, Archie likes his sex worker with a bit of GFE, girlfriend experience. He doesn't really like to think that he's just a trick from another John. He likes to, you know, have a bit of a GFE experience and have a good time. A lot of the workers, the service providers in the Cross, they're your very, very vicious, very, very nasty. You know, they're just turning tricks for a living, and that's probably not the best place to go. I'd really advise any mongers to stay away from the Cross there. You're much better to go into the suburbs, Parramatta, Cabramatta, and go to an AMP, Asian massage parlour, and they're certainly getting very, very popular. And you know, admittedly, you're not going to get the true GFE experience of Asia, and you know, you certainly you've got to. I think you're probably best to go with the freelancers or the indies, the independent operators, and you're going to get a much better deal than if you go to an AMP. You know, it's very, very factory sort of service, hit and miss sort of thing. But let's have a look at the ratings here. Okay, what do we give Sydney? Okay, for cleanliness, I'm going to give the city, for a city this size, we're going to give it a 7, which is outstanding. That's a really clean city there. For pollution, the level of pollution in Sydney, it's not a huge problem, but fucking the cunts at Orica, fuck me dead. They don't fucking take any precautions, these mean, nasty fuckers. I'm going to give it a 7. And the actual number of luxury shops, look, it's rating high. We're going to give it another 7. So we're scoring well. We've got 3 7s. You can't complain about that in the world rating. I mean, fuck, this is rating high. What's the ability to get a route like in this city? Well, it is Australia. And Archie's giving it a 5. That's right. So let's tally that all up. We've got a total of 26. That's very, very interesting. 26 for Sydney. And look, it's a great city to visit, but it's fucking expensive. The you know, the service providers are not cheap. You're much better off going to Asia. You're much better off going to Bangkok, Hong Kong, or even Singapore, Asia Light, if you can't handle the full Asian experience. And yeah, it's an expensive city. Sydney's lovely. You visit it once, you don't come back. It's not a monger's paradise. That's why Bangkok has the repeat customer. I'm Archie Luxury. Tell me what you think.